Welcome to another episode of Matt Stream Adventures here on YouTube. We are seam sealing this tent today. This is a cheap $30 tent, Bass Pro Shops Hiker Biker 1 tent. I'm working on modifying it. It's a series in this channel. So I sewed some guy out points on it the other day, 2 on each side, to prevent the walls from sagging in. I'm not using that because I'm going to be sealing them. But there's a couple points on the inside of the tent. You just take a quick look that are not seam taped. So I'll be sealing those points today. So the top is seam taped. Okay, these do not appear to be seam taped. Oh, that one does. The stone points on the door are not seam taped. So we'll zip this up. We'll zip it up. I have an extra, 2 extra stakes. Alright, that's good enough. So let's go over quickly what I have to seam seal. And I am doing it from the outside. There's heavy debate on whether to do it from the inside or outside. I'm choosing to do it on the outside, but that needs to be seam sealed. It did not come seam sealed. This section here could be seam sealed. Same here. This section across the top middle needs to be seam sealed. And there's 3 sections on the back that need to be seam sealed. I got this Gear Aid seam sealer. That's what I'm going to be using. From what I've heard, a little goes a long way. This is my first time seam sealing. But yeah, let's get to it. Should be entertaining. They don't like to make packages easy to open. Put these over by my backpack. So we've got our brush that came with it and our seam sealer, which actually is a little bit on the tab, so hopefully this hasn't been repackaged or something. Of course, we have no pokey on the top. No thing to poke it out. That's a bit annoying, but we'll use that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start here. Just work our way down. I'm gonna put this back on. And we're gonna brush it. We're gonna start by brushing it up so we don't forget anything. All you need is a thin layer. A little hard to do with that tie-out point right there, but I think we'll get it. We're gonna add more. Whoa, that might have been a little too much right there. We'll see. Oops, getting a little sloppy right there. This, in my opinion, is one of the most important parts. That's why I'm starting with it first. I'll just have to remember, try not to be sloppy. Just a little bit. There we go. That should get quite a bit done, hopefully. And to keep it straight. So far it's not super easy. It's not super hard. It's kind of fun in a way, but it's a bit challenging. Definitely getting some on my hands, but I've gotten worse stuff on my hands. Seems like stroking the brush up and down spreads it more efficiently than just going in one direction, strangely. Alright, I'm thinking 1 or 2 more coats and we'll be golden. One more up there. There we go. Screw this on, put it down. Now I'm just gonna take one final brush up, just to kind of perfect everything. I might add an extra bit up at the top, just a hair more, to really make sure that I seal the top. There we go. And I'm gonna lift that up. Try to get right there. Alright, there's one seam. There appears to be another seam under that with Velcro. We do have a rain flap, so we might leave that. I don't know, I'm gonna get the more important ones done with first. Try and be conservative with it. So that means we're gonna work our way to the back for right now. These back seams are really important to me to be seam sealed. They're the vent at the foot end. I'm sure you can see in the video why the guy out points were important to sew on. Making a mess on my hands, at least on my brush hand, because I used it to poke the bottle open. Start small and take your time. Gonna brush up. There we go. Just want to make sure I get the entire thing. If I'm lucky, I should have enough. The tarp I'm actually using as a ground sheet for this tent actually does need to be seam sealed in a spot, which, you know, if I can conserve this, I'll use to seam seal the tarp another time. So far, I'm really enjoying this experience, except for getting the seam sealer on my hands. Whoops. So if you want to do this the less messy way, the Outdoor Gear Review on YouTube has a video on it that I'd recommend checking out. And he does it a more neat way. But just doing it my own way. I don't care about being a little messy. Especially on a $30 tent. Or I just don't care if my hands get messy either. Alright. That one is done. So, I don't necessarily think it's necessary to seam those seals, these ones, because I just don't know yet. So what I'm going to do is seal the middle seams quickly, and then if I have enough left, do the other ones. So, we'll start with the top one. Alright, so I got the tent sealed. I got that seam sealed. Not the bottom there. I ran out of seam sealer and I just couldn't find that being such an important part as much as this. Because I'm trying to keep the area where I'm sleeping dry and I wanted to be conservative. The top is seam taped. Those bottom ones, I partially sealed the bottom one right there, but left it because that seam taped. That right there though is not seam taped, so I seam sealed those on both sides. I seam sealed the guy out points I sewed in, and it's actually looking pretty good so far. So the walls are no longer saggy, so it looks like it's actually pretty wide now. And so it should be fun once the seams dry to try that tent out and see how much of a difference sealing the seams and guying out the sides make. And then, you know, we'll do a test night with the rain and do a test fit, see what it's like with the new guy out points. So I've seen some tents do one in the middle, but I like the looks of it better with two kind of just like that, because I feel like if you have one in the middle, then it would allow those sides to kind of drape in, but you just have a random puff right there. So I figured by doing these two, it would kind of keep the entire side away from you and not have any random droopiness, because, you know, most important part is keeping this part of the sidewall off you, and then also keeping the foot end off your sleeping bag because of condensation. So yeah, so we had some rain last night, unfortunately shortly after the seam sealing, so I don't know how much seam sealer actually stayed on, which is unfortunate. At least it was in a way free, so I'm going to unzip the entrance and see if we see any leaking anywhere in the tent. I'll just pull that. Or actually, no, we can leave that. I don't know what I was thinking. So far, it's looking promising. So far, it's looking quite promising, actually. Surprisingly, there might be one spot I'm noticing. Aha, there is. Okay, that's interesting. Seems to be some couple of wet spots in there on the floor near the back. The front seems dry. It's hard to tell. I mean, that might be from the ground, probably. I'm feeling the sides. There's no condensation at the sides. The top is seam taped. Okay, so where I stitched the guy out point right there, some rain got in through there, so I gotta do something to seal that better. I might have to seal it with some epoxy or something from the inside. What else do we have? We have a corner. The corners leak water. Alright, that's interesting. Must be because those red points are not seam taped, and they should be seam taped or seam sealed, so those would have to be seam sealed. As far as the walls, besides the seams, the walls actually seem very well water resistant. So I think with some seam taping, seam sealing, not seam taping, if we seam seal these points, I think we might just have something going. Alright. So, we have a couple little spots. One weak point where I sewed a guy line. Those probably need to be sealed from the inside. Even though only one leaked, and I did kind of seal them from the outside. So, we'll get that figured out. The corners of the tent need to be seam sealed. They're leaking. Those are the only weak spots in the tent. Granted, it was a light rain, but it was a steady light rain overnight. So if we can get this tent, though, in shape where you don't need to cover it with a tarp, like I've heard that you might need to with this tent, then might be a pretty golden backpack and tent after all. So that's going to do it for this episode of Matt Stream Outside here on YouTube. Thanks for checking out the videos, likes, views, subscriptions, comments. They're all appreciated. Be on the lookout for more outdoorsy content. As I said in another video, I still can't do every day this week, but once again, I'll get back to doing every day. Have a great day or night. Thank you for watching.